Well, here we are, live again. And tonight we're going to be painting the Panzer IVs that I made yesterday. So that's what we've got on the workbench right now. 5 Panzer IVs with turrets. Let's just see if anybody turns up tonight. I was pleasantly surprised by how many people came in yesterday. So, well, fingers crossed. It's not going to be too loud. I've got my Model Air here. Get this plugged in and set up, and hopefully it's not going to be too loud for people. Let's have a look. I don't think it is. I'm just going to drop down the pressure a little. I wonder why this is blowing. Right, so I've got my if you are here, just say hello. Give me something to talk about at least. We'll see, get the conversation started. Let me see 3 people here. For some reason on my airbrush there's a leak on it somewhere, and I'm not sure where or how or why. It seems to be working all right. Hi Kevin, good to see you're here. Hello, how are you doing? Let's see who else turns up. Let's just have a I wonder if this thing is blocked. It needs a clean or not. It probably does. Probably needs a deep clean, to be honest. I'll say I'm not. She blows. Evening, Richard. Evening, Steve. How's everyone today on this lovely Saturday? I keep forgetting it's Saturday, as I kept forgetting it was Friday yesterday. So tonight, as you can see, I'm painting these Panzer IVs that I started yesterday using the airbrush. So you're watching with interest, Kev, with the airbrush. Well, I wouldn't take any tips from me because I'm still learning how to use it as well. I only got this at Christmas. So I'm just trying to work out best how to use it, really. And I think the only way to do that is to use it. I was told in the previous video that I had the pressure up too high, so I've dropped the pressure. It seems to be giving it a bit of a better coat, I guess. I'm currently doing these in, this is middle stone, Vallejo's air colour middle stone, because I'm doing the we need a little bit more in there, I think. I've not yet gone to doing zenithal shading or anything like that, any of those crazy airbrush techniques, but I want to learn them at some point. My problem is with new things is like Homer says, if you're not good at something straight away, there's no point doing it. You know, pressure a little too low. I'm just going to give it a bit more. Let's see if that works. Evening, Nick Games. I do keep getting blockages in this, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong or right. Maybe a little bit thinner, perhaps. Let's just have a look. There. There's a little, and I should hopefully improve the flow. Just a wee bit. How did I thin my paint, Richard? That's with the airbrush thinner, Vallejo's airbrush thinner. I just bought that the other day. It's just a couple of drops of that in. It's a big bottle, so it goes quite a long way. I got it really to be able to thin down other Vallejo paints, not just their airbrush paints. So it was kind of for that really, but it works well with the actual Vallejo air paint. Well, I've found I might have to do two passes. I might have to actually go on. The problem is with airbrushing is everybody has their own technique at it. And everybody does whatever it is that they think is correct. So there doesn't seem to be any particular consensus on how to do anything. You just have to kind of stumble through a bit and learn yourself. And that's what I find anyway from looking at various tutorials and what people have told me. What one person tells me is a complete contradiction of what somebody else has told me. It's just the way it is. Put the pressure up a bit, I think. Your bloody thing. You're basically going to sit here and watch me struggle for about an hour with this airbrush, and I'll kick it into touch and probably just paint it on with a proper brush. Oops. Anybody else painting at the moment, or just me? You're just tuning in to watch me make a mess of my airbrushing. Kevin said you were going to ask me about the thinner as well. Yeah, it's just typical airbrush thinners. Kev, I've watched a lot of YouTube things on there. Yeah, no, I'm saying, Nick, I'm new to airbrushing myself, so I'm kind of literally learning it as I go, and that's what I'm doing here. Really, it's something that I've always wanted to do and wanted to know how to do. So I ended up buying myself one just after Christmas because I had a bit of money. So I thought I'll get one and we'll go from there, really, and see how good it is or how it is. Preparing stuff, Steve. Anything interesting? I still have some British tanks to paint for 15mm First World War grade, World War One. So this is probably a bit boring at the moment. I'm just getting a little worried that this is overheating my compressor. I don't want that to blow out. So I'm gonna sack the airbrush off for now. I'm gonna go back to my preferred method of actually painting with a brush. I still use this Vallejo Air that I've got here, so this should be a lot easier. Let's have a look. I can find a good enough brush for this, or a big enough brush for this at least. There we are. This one. Saxons 28mm for the rules. Raven Feast. Yeah. I played a game of Raven Feast against myself a couple of weeks ago. It will be appearing on the channel at some point. 6mm Zulus and Macedonians. And more stuff for my Kings of War Twilight Kin Army. Okay, interesting stuff. So as you can see, instead I've gone from an airbrush to a hand brush instead. I just want to get these done pretty quick. So I'm just using this brush here. It'll probably take a couple of coats because it's airbrush paint, and it's obviously quite thin to go through the airbrush. And it's also wobbly as well. But we'll get there. We'll get there, folks. Or will we even? Not sure if that is working either. 6mm. Got no problem painting 50mm. You think it's small? How the hell do you paint 6mm? 6mm's relatively easy. I've got 6,000 plus Napoleonics in 6mm. So you just have to be. If you can paint stripes and dots and things on any what's it called, 28mm figures, then you can paint 6mm quite easily. There's very little difference really. $6,000 plus speechless. I was after I painted them. I still haven't finished the Prussians yet, or started them, or bought them. That's the next thing. That's going to be another 3,000 thereabouts. Probably about 9,000 by the time I've finished. It's taken 4 years to get to this point. Come on, Mr. Airbrush. Let's have a bit of action. It's all pretty gunked up on the end, I think. That's the problem. Just going to clean it off. $2mm Napoleonic on the go as well. And yeah, I like the look of 2mm once they're all painted up, and I don't think I'd be too fussed about painting. I've got 2mm. I've got 2mm for Second World War for Rommel, but oh dear, that's not good. I think this is. I'm going to leave the airbrush for tonight because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with it. Do you have an alcohol through your airbrush? I've run airbrush thinner through it and water, but that's been about it really. Nothing else. Unfortunately, that's slightly annoying. I can't do that. I'm gonna go with khaki grey for this middle stone colour. It's almost exactly the same as the middle stone I was using. So I'm going to go with khaki grey on this. But there we are. I'll just thin this down. I normally use my wet palette, but there's not a great deal of space at the moment for it. So I'm just going to go in with the old brush. I might try and do the 3-tone camo with the airbrush once I've cleaned it up later on. Oh, this seems to be going from bad to worse at the moment. Kevin, you painted up 4,000 plus and 6,000 Prussian Franco War 6mm, yeah, a few years ago. Yeah, you do have to have pretty young eyes for it. It's quite an undertaking. I mean, I'm not looking forward to not too natural the airbrush, new and clogged. Yes, it does. And this one currently seems to be clogged, unfortunately. So I'm going to come back to it another time. I'll give it a clean out later. I don't really want to spend my time on this live stream cleaning an airbrush, so nothing that's particularly interesting. I'll give it a clean later on. I have got a sonic cleaner that is able to take off to the rubbish. Jeremy Short put me in touch with one on I think it was on eBay. I bought it about 30 quid. It does seem to clean the airbrush pretty well. So I seem to get more and more frustrated with it than anything else. I just don't want the compressor to overheat or anything. But sometimes the old techniques are the best. So I'm just really roughly putting on the base coat of these now. So it's not a bad match for the airbrush colour middle stone. I usually use middle stone for the German armour. It seems to work, or at least for the yellow anyway, Dunkelgelb. I don't know, 1,000 books have been written on that subject as to what the actual end colour of it is. There we go. This is more like it. I feel more at home now. I do trying to squeeze air through a tiny little needle. You might be able to see that I've actually already undercoated these. I've primed them already in a grey, just in a cheap grey primer that I got from Wilko here in the UK. Cheap shop. I think it's cost me about £4 for a massive can. It's the same stuff that Games Workshop will see for about 20 quid for the same size can. And it does exactly the same thing. So that's what I used. I gave these a spray earlier on. Yesterday I'd got to the point where I was able to I'd almost finished the turrets, but I just finished them off later on last night. And then I've also put some stowage and stuff on as well today, just to break up the shape of the tanks and give them something interesting to look at as well. These Plastic Soldier Company Panzer IVs. If anybody is interested in what manufacturer they are, they're really nice, full of detail, as everything is really with the Plastic Soldier Company. You can never go wrong. I haven't had a bad kit off them, apart from, I think the only an old friend used to use a 1/4 inch brush base colour to paint his models, then moved to one for a cow. Well, at least it gets them done quick, doesn't it? I mean, I do the same, really. I'm just daubing this on at this point, just to get the colour onto them. And it works. I've been doing it this method for donkey's years. I say, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. How many we got watching tonight? 8. Feels like a Sunday. Really don't know why. This is it. Slowly getting there. I've never really been able to work out, I said before, really, which is the fastest method, airbrushing or just brushing. Now the airbrush goes on, it looks a lot flatter on the models and doesn't get clogged up in all the detail and things. So that's good. Rattle can prime to base coat figures and armor. Yeah, I use that. I generally use a rattle can. Like I said, this is just a cheap stuff from Wilco's. It doesn't half get everywhere though when I'm spraying it inside. I suppose you're not supposed to really, because it is inert and it will get into your lungs. But O Group in 6mm. I'll tell you, if I had the money and the inclination, I'd certainly be doing it in 6mm. Recommendations. I think now Bacchus are doing their 6mm World War seems fantastic, and they're producing stuff all the time as well. My Napoleonics are all Bacchus, and they are lovely models. They're really detailed. They look great. They paint well. It's a good company as well, and they good customer service and everything. So I would go straight to them without hesitation. I think. I'm trying to think of any others really for 6mm. I mean, there's quite a lot, but who does the best is the question. I think, to be honest, I think somebody's missing a trick by not doing 6mm plastic 6mm. I'm really surprised nobody's done that. I know there's a huge cost associated with setting up plastic. You airbrush outside. Yeah, I probably should really. Wife tells me I should at least, but I don't. Yeah, I really should do it out in the yard, but I never do. Commission figurines, yeah. Do they do World War II? I know they do Napoleonics in MDF, don't they? I think that they look okay for distance. They're Napoleonics, but when you're getting a bit close, you can kind of see that they're just flat. Your wife won't let you spray indoors. Well, my wife generally won't either. She gives me hell, but she currently lives in Austria, so what she doesn't know, she won't hurt her, unless of course she's watching this video, and then she will know. But to be honest, I doubt it. She's watching this video. She's not interested in me painting tanks. World War yet, or Second World War. Telling me my connection is unstable. Sorry if you got an unstable connection there. But yeah, it's certainly 10. When I first started wargaming, I used to do micro tanks, 6mm, or micro tanks as they were known at the time. I can't remember which manufacturer. I think it might have been Heroics and Ross. And I think, again, some of their stuff now, their modern stuff is pretty good. Their modern sculpts. Yeah, I'd have a look at, yeah, I just reminded myself, I'd have a look at Heroics and Ross, and certainly have a look at Bacchus. And the two of them will a good O group force in very quick time, and also very cheaply as well, I would say. I really don't. It would be a nice little project. I'd do it, but I'm too tight, and I like to reuse my as much scenery as possible. So that's why I generally do pretty much all my historicals in 15mm, apart from the 6mm Napoleonics. Yeah, irregular. Yeah. An Adler. Again, are they 6mm? They are 6mm, but have they got Second World War? I think they might do, actually. Yeah, I think I was looking into them when starting on Rommel. That's right. I've forgotten about Adler, and Adler are great as well. They're really nice, really nice sculpts. I did consider them for my Napoleonics as well, but I went with Bacchus. Bacchus, I think, just beat them just slightly on price. I don't know if Adler do vehicles or not. I've not actually looked into them too much, but I'd be surprised if they don't. But like I say, somebody like the Perry should do 6mm in plastic. That would be great. Or Warlord, that'll probably be their next thing. Bolt action in 6mm. A travel version. Yeah, Heroics and Ross is still really good. GHQ, yeah, they're another one, but on GHQ slightly bigger. I think they're 18287 or something. They're slightly bigger than 6mm. I could be wrong, but their stuff is really nice. But it is pricey from what I've seen. 2D6. I know the name, but I've never looked at any of their stuff, so I wouldn't be able to comment on them, I don't think. Right, well, that's all the tank bodies done. Now it's the turrets. Oh, it looks like I keep freezing. I might have to buy myself a what's it called, a booster. I hope it's not causing too much inconvenience for folks. Can't believe I'd set everything up to spray, and then the bloody spray airbrush doesn't work for me. Fickle, that's what it is. It's fickle. Normally I glue turrets in place, but because a lot of the games that I play these days seem to want to have the turrets pointing a particular way, like the chain of command, and I ain't been shot on, and even O group. It's I'm not going to this time round. I'm going to actually leave them unglued so they can be moved about during games. So there we are with these. Anybody got any plans for Easter Sunday? Mine's going to be a long lie-in. 2d6, Kevin says 2d6 are nice. Tanks and vehicles are really nice looking. Have not got any yet. I just had a look at 2 of his Kickstarter Samurai in 6mm. And I saw some nice looking 3D World War II. Yeah, that's another option, I suppose, isn't it? Just getting 3D printed World War II. I mean, whether if you have your own printer or if you get them from someone who prints them out for you, like Sabotaged or something, perhaps. Africa core colours are easy colour choice. Well, that's true. Oh, it's Easter Sunday. Either crack open Warfighter World War II or sticker the commands and colours Austrians. Ah, excellent. Another Command and Colours fan. Great game. It's a fantastic game. The Napoleonic version. I've got the Napoleonic version. I've played Memoir 44, and I've also got the Great War and all its expansions as well. I keep meaning to buy more of the Napoleonic one. It's such a good game. I play a lot of it solo, so I just never had a chance to play with my mates, really. It works pretty well solo, quite easily. Yeah, the problem with doing these colours by hand is they don't always, you don't get a good spread sometimes. You have to go over a couple of times. Just noticing in the light, these are a bit patchy in places. Depends on size. Well, size and everything. You got a 3D printer for Christmas, Kevin? Right, okay. I've not gone down that route yet. I'm a bit nervous about it because I know that if I did get one, I think it'd continually be on, and I would quickly run out of space. Not having one kind of keeps me in check a little bit. The house would soon suddenly be full of lots of tanks. And a good scalpel for cleaning them. Is that cleaning the 3D prints? I think there's different settings on them, isn't there? And different types. I think I could be wrong, but it may be the resin ones are more highly detailed, I think. But I really don't know enough about them. But I'm happy enough to buy 3D printed stuff off people. People have said it's actually 3D printing, because there's a lot to it. And as you can see, I find airbrushes tricky enough. As we've already noticed. That's what my wife says. I tried to print a number of 222s in 15mm and up in 10mm. Well, 10mm will be good for O group, nothing else. But I think maybe you might want to test it before you start doing things like that, Kevin. At least I would want to anyway. Are they cheap? Are they expensive? Is the material expensive? I say I literally don't know anything about them. I don't know how cost effective they are compared to just buying either plastic or metal miniatures, or even 3D printed ones. Cleaning them is a pain. Yeah, I've occasionally bought 3D printed stuff online, and I've had to clean it up and stuff, especially where it's had a lot of the striations on it, which can be a bit of a pain when you're going to clean that up. I'm just going to let those dry. I'm just going to clean this airbrush quickly before it gets too dry and I can't do anything with it. So I'm still here for a bit. I've just got this cleaning pot I use for the airbrush. Like cleaning 3D prints, cleaning an airbrush is a pain as well. The least enjoyable part of it. It's supposed to get easier the more you do it, but I don't think it has done for me. I'm just running water through this at the moment. Clean out the bowl a bit and get all that gunk out. I feel like I'm wasting more paint at this point, really, than anything else with this airbrush. Oh, don't worry, I've got rich man's putty for the camo. I've actually got blue tag leads a residue, unfortunately, I've found. So I prefer to use stuff that's been formulated for it rather than anything else. So I think it's clean, but it's going to need a proper deep clean, I think. So I'll do that later. At least I've got most of the crap out of it. I'm saying I'm more of a mess with the airbrush than anything else. Where's that top gone? There we are. Right. Well, the next thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to start making the bases for these Panzer IVs. And I'm sure this will upset some people because the world is divided into bases and non-bases. This is the stuff I've got. This is the putty that I've got from AK. Because I'll also, one day when I can work out my airbrush, I'll be using it on larger tanks. Right, let's see. Let's do something I can do. Right. So you may, if you've watched any of my videos, you may realise that I am a tank baser. So it's 2.5 inch or 6 centimeters by 3.5. Yeah, it's costly, but you know, things are only because you're prepared to pay for them. I find. I say 3.5 by 6. You know, if you've got the money to spend on something, it's not expensive, is it? I think. I'm not made of money, but I can certainly afford to pay for good putty, as it were. So 3.5 by 6, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4. mark this out. So I'm just using plastic art here just to get these bases done, and then I'm going to put on some textured material. Let's have a look. Let's get lined up. I don't know what to do with that plastic art. It seems to be my 3mm or 6mm bases. What do you mean? Thickness? This is probably 2mm, I think, this. The red needs cleaning and sunbathing. Well, don't we all? Yeah, as I say, I know very little about 3D printing. 1, 2, 3, 3.5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.5. There we go. The world seems to be split in half when it comes to basing vehicles. I've always done it, so I'm just going to always do it. I always think we base our figures, so why not the vehicles? Otherwise the vehicles look weird. They're usually like 2mm smaller than the figures. Oh, thickness, yes, yeah, it's 2mm thick. 6mm would be way too thick, I think. Even 3mm might be pretty thick, so I'd say this is about perfect thickness. These are 50mm tanks. There we go. It is a pain to base tanks, but I just think it sets them off. It's like a little vignette that they're sat on. We got last bits. 6mm for the MDF, though I hate it. Yeah, I would have thought cutting 6mm MDF is pretty hard. It's hard enough doing 2mm MDF. I very rarely use 2mm. For 28mm, yeah, I can see how that would work. I think 6mm MDF would probably swallow 15mm figures. I don't think I would do it. The next thing I need to do is just clip off these edges, just give them a gentle round. This is something I never used to do, but I've started doing it now. Is just giving a nice round corner. It kind of helps it to blend into the table a bit. Nipping off these edges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the file and then just sand these down as well. Ever tried the silly putty camo method? I've used it on my 144 scale. No, the only time I've used putty, and it wasn't silly putty, is the camo putty from AK, is on some half tracks I was airbrushing just recently. I just wanted to use them as a tester, really. Mixed results at best, but I'm still learning how to use the airbrush, so part of that was the reason why. Normally do most of my camouflage in by hand, really, with a brush by hand. That's how I've generally always done it. So now I've got this stuff. I don't know if anyone's used this before. Vallejo earth texture. It's in a flat earth colour. This is basically a paste with very, very fine sand in it, which you just basically splodge onto the base. And then what I'll do is, it's dry, probably tomorrow, I will use static grass over the top with PVA just to give it a grass shape. It normally takes about 45 minutes to dry, but I usually leave it overnight just to make sure it's solid. It's a bit of a strange paste, this. It's like kind of like paint mixed with sand. I suppose you could make your own, but there's something in it that makes it almost rubberized. So it's not. I suppose it probably is acrylic paint actually. Do you know what I've forgotten to do? I said I was going to file the edges down of these, but forgotten to do it. Never mind. It won't hurt. When it's dry and fill in the edges. Just get those clean. It's all over the place. You can make this as lumpy or as thin as you want. It's pretty good stuff for doing terrain and things. As I say, for bases and stuff. It's well worth getting a pot. It goes quite a long way as well. Yeah, I normally do painted with sand and PVA, but then you've got to also paint it as well. Whereas this literally just goes straight on. It's for the job. And I like things that are convenient and don't take my time up. So I mean, if I was PVA and sand in this, I'd have to put the PVA on, then I'd have to put the sand on, and then I'll have to put the paint on as well. And then of course, Bob's your uncle. There we go. That's them half done. Stuff. Well, you're a cleverer man than me, Steve. Obviously, I've never thought. I have thought of doing it. I just never got around to doing it. That'll be preparation, which I don't have. The good stuff with this is, well, it also washes off in water, but it does clog up your water dish, which is not good either. Right, I'm going to leave those tanks for a bit because I want to come back to them another time. Let's put them to one side. One of the things I got in the post today was some walls, 50mm walls from foreground, literally MDF things. So I'm going to put these together now because I'd like to use them. I want to play a game of Chain of Command in Italy, and I want to use these walls for them. I actually got them for sharp practice for the walls of Hougoumont, but they'll do for anything really. They're just textured walls. What I'm going to do is, once I built them up, I will probably give them a bit of weathering as well. But they're giving me over a meter of 50mm wall, so that's them there. So you can see that's foreground. And again, I don't get paid to say this. I just bought them. I'm just building them. What you said there, Kevin? Have you tried Battlefront plastic kits? Yes, I have indeed, and they're very good. The last ones I built were M10 tank destroyers, and they were lovely, really nice kits. I would get more, but right now I don't need any more. The only reason I've got these ones, these plastic Soldier Company ones, is because I bought them off Richard over on Twitter. He was selling them. We need them, but do we ever really need anything in wargaming? They come in basically in 3 parts. Well, 4 parts actually. So you've got your core of your wall, the 2 outside rendered sides of it, 1 and 2, and then you also got the top as well with the, and it's all laser cut. I mean, as I said before, I like convenience. If somebody else can do that for me, then I'm going to let them. So I need my glue here. I'll put these together. I think now this is going to be my next task. Let's shift these tanks out of the way. Let's get them shifted. There we are. And get rid of these turrets as well. Just placing these behind me out of the way. Give me a bit of space. There we go. I found myself over the last few years building a lot more scenery, just because I want to have a nice table, if nothing else really, just to game on. It's nice, nice to have nice looking figures, but if you haven't got good scenery for them to fight over, then I think you're kind of missing a trick really a bit. So that's why I'm trying to get all different kinds of bits of scenery, so I can play lots of different things with them. As I say, with these 50mm, these 50mm walls, they'll be useful all the way from the Napoleonic period up to and beyond the Second World War. So absolutely useful, very useful stuff. I'll just prepare them first of all. It shouldn't take too long. I'm just sorting them into their different types. So when I come to glue them, the only thing is, because they're laser cut, they're actually a bit dirty as well. You can probably see on my fingers there. But these things are a bit dirty. So I'm going to have to wash up when I've finished. I'll come back to the tops in a second. These are the bases for them. I'm not entirely sure at the moment what I want to do with the bases, whether to make them, if they're going to be used in an urban environment, there's probably not much chance of the grass being around them. But I kind of want to blend it a bit. Richard says, you're rebasing some World War I BEF. They popped off the bases. You forgot to rough up the plastic guard. What did you use on it? Super glue? And Kevin, your chair is as noisy as most of mine. Yeah, it's a noisy chair. Massive holes in it from where she's been scratching it. But you know, it's serving its purpose, and that's the main thing. As I said, these walls are quite nice. They're pretty easy to put together and do some really nice things. They've got some really nice ideas for MDF and laser cut cardboard and things. Let's see. Let's have a look. So I just want to get some of these straight sections done. This is easy enough. Now, where did I put that? This is where I get absolutely covered in PVA. So this is just general purpose PVA, bought from a cheap shop. Kids paint supplies. With I have to buy hand wipes. Yeah, I'm about the same, to be honest. You do just get absolutely filthy with them. But the smell of cut MDF is great, I think. It smells fantastic. And there's nothing like opening that package and getting that first whiff of EF as you as it comes through the door. So this is basically use no more nails and they never come off here. It's one thing I've never used is no more nails. I know Lardy Nick goes on about it a lot on the Two Fat Lardies podcast. He always gets a mention of no more nails in when he's talking about building things. There you go, that's a wall section. Well, needs its top, but it's as easy as that. I'll do the tops in a second once I've done the sides. There we go, get them fixed in place. Don't use it on 10mm bases or below. It pulls up when drying and warps it. Good tip. Good tip there, DH. These are going together a lot easier than I thought. From experience, yeah. I think we've all experienced some kind of warping at some point on things. Can be disappointing. But it's always best to at least test stuff, isn't it, beforehand? You don't always get a chance, though. It's the wrong one. Sorry, I'm going to be quiet till I'm putting these together, making sure I get the right bits. Yeah, you soon get filthy fingers with these, especially with the PVA. There's not a great deal I can do about that. Like 3D printing, MDF has come on in leaps and bounds in the last few years. People like Sarissa and the stuff that they make is fantastic. You know, it's better than lots of model kits in some cases. Because it's MDF as well, it's quite versatile, easy thing to work with when it's thin anyway. Slowly getting there with these. You just don't stick yourself to the item using PVA. Well, that's true. That's one saver of PVA. It's relatively easy to clean off, at least. Nothing else. I think everybody at some point has probably super glued themselves to something. I'd be surprised if you hadn't. Slowly there. A tacky glue. Richard, you use tacky glue, do you? I don't think I've ever used that of adhesives. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a different one up there, and that one is as well, I think. And the other 4. I should have 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. My maths were correct. Here's a question: how did the people that are listening find out about this live stream? Did YouTube tell you, or was it from my post on Twitter or on my Facebook? Just wonder how the word is getting out. I intend on doing some more live streams in the future. Subscribe. So YouTube sent you an email, did they? Or were you warned when it was coming up? YouTube found you. Nice. And warned, yeah. Okay. Interesting to know. And thanks for the subscription. Oh, tacky glue is a form of PVA. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably plenty of different types of it. Water-based solvents. There we get in there with these walls at least. Let's say at the moment they're okay. They'll work on the table, but I want to do something with the bases, and I'm just not entirely sure what to do yet. Chatting this afternoon, I heard from YouTube on your SOS sub. Good stuff. It's always interesting to know where the word gets out. Because I just started streaming last night, about 5 o'clock-ish UK time, and just so I didn't expect anybody to watch it at all, to be honest. But suddenly there was quite a few people watching. Strange. So does the, I don't really know how that the bell ring works on YouTube. I mean, I know it exists, but you just basically click the bell, don't you? And then it just tells you when, I guess, when somebody releases a new video or does something like this. I guess that's how it works. Maybe I should try it out on some of the people I subscribe to. Yeah, at least I'll be in the loops. Right, okay, so that's the basics of them done. So now I need to do the tops. So these are just... Hey Julian, how are you doing? I'm good, thanks. How are you? Nice of you to join us. I'm just currently building some walls at the moment. 50mm walls. So these are the top slabs for them. Again, this is just cardboard that's just been engraved with a laser, which is nice. You see there where it's filthy and where it's making meat even filthier. Alright, nice easy little project to quickly get done. As I say, I wanted to play a game of Chain of Command this weekend. I was thinking maybe tomorrow, but I haven't set the table. I haven't set up any scenery or anything yet. So there you go. That's your finished wall. Very nice, and with a little cap on it. I've just knocked off, that I'll put back on. Very nice and easy. Subscribe, chose the bell for notification choices. Yeah. Cheers, Steve. Thanks again for the subscribe. It's all good. Looks good. Cheers. Thanks for that. All the work is from foreground, not from me. I've literally put these things together. I can't remember how much these were. Probably about £12, I think. Don't know what that is in dollars. About $15 maybe, a bit more. Not entirely sure. So for 12 quid, it saves me setting things. Doing fine. Julian says, Great War Germans, excellent. 2 fighter minis from Great War Miniatures. GM Miniatures, Great War, GW Miniatures. Is that Great War Miniatures? And DH says, your setup rocks. Do you use the deep cut PVC game mats? No, I don't. The game mats I've got are from Wargames. I've only got 2, and they are, and thank you. Well, the one of them is just a grass green, the basic grass green one, and the other one is concrete. Yeah, Great Wall Miniatures. Cheers, Julian. Yeah, I only bought them, I think, last year, in fact. And I bought the concrete one in one of his sales. He had a flash sale on, so I just thought I could use that for things like Stalingrad and stuff. I've actually not got around to using it yet. It's just been sat on the side. But I could also use it for things like, even for Judge Dredd, or even potentially stuff like Star Wars, if I wanted to do some urban combat for Star Wars. But it'd look a bit weird because my Star Wars figures are all based with grass. So unless they were dragging a load of grass around the city with them, it might look a bit strange. But really nice mats, 6 by 4 foot, so they fit perfectly on my table. My table is actually an MDF table. I think it's about 12 mil thick MDF boards, 3 by 4, two of them. So I use those, put those together, and it gives me a 6x4. Which is, you watched a whiskey plank live stream. A whiskey plank? I don't know what that is. I know what whiskey is, but plank. 15,000 people were watching. Blimey. Obviously, I'm doing the wrong thing. I've got 10 people watching. It's not nowhere near 15,000 yet. Well, this time next year, I'm sure they'll all be tuning in to see me build small walls for Italy. There we go. But I mean, live streaming, I suppose, has really taken off massively just over the pandemic, hasn't it? Really, the fact that people are stuck in a house with not much to do a lot of the time. So kind of just, you want something to do, and watching things and listening to lectures and stuff online has been the rage for the last year. Right, let's have a look at these walls now. Get the next one done as well. Okay, so that's those walls, or the straight bits anyway. Let me just grab a 15mm figure. We can see how big they are compared to actual 15mm figures. This is my current lead mounting, or part of it. This has got 15mm British 8th Army, which I'll be painting for the Far East rather than Africa. What else we got in here? These are Celts, 15mm Celts. They're Blue Moon. You'll probably start to notice a pattern emerging. These are 15mm from Blue Moon and various other people as well in there. What else have we got in here? We've got 6mm Prussians. I was sent these by Ian of the South London Warlords. He didn't need them anymore, so he sent them over to me. Very nice of him. Some motorcycle dispatch riders. These again will probably be used for Malaya at some point. What else have I got in here? That's stowage. Various bits of stowage. Some more 6mm cavalry in here. Some Prussians, I think. Bits and pieces, or Austrians perhaps. And that's about it at the moment in there. Let's have a look at this. These 15mm figures up against our walls, just see what they look like. So they're very basically done at the moment. And there's a fellow with his Tommy gun. So they're what? That's what? Shots thereabouts. So that's pretty good, isn't it? It's quite nice. The garden wall. They'll look pretty good. They will. Maybe they're not big enough for the garden wall at Hougoumont, Waterloo, but we'll see. Kevin says the mat looks good. I'm going to invest in one later. Another item on my long list since COVID. I decided to get much more mobile terrain. Don't have a wargaming table at home. Yeah, I think I'd be a bit lost, to be honest, without my table as it is. But because I'm able to split it into two parts of two 4x3s, it doesn't take up a great deal of room. So if I ever had to move from here, I'd at least be able to take it with me, I think, and store it somewhere and get it out on special occasions. So yeah, that's those walls, or parts of those done at least. They're not too bad. There's a few more, but I think I'm gonna leave them for tonight. And I think, well, I've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes now, so I think I'm going to take a break here, chaps. I'm going to say good night. I'm going to thank you all for tuning in and watching. Much appreciated. I'm going to be doing more live streaming at some point in the future. That's helped me get through quite a bit of things I wanted to do. So thanks for that. The last plank on a wooden boat, christened and toasted. Of course, 110 boats built in the UK and restored in Washington State. Brilliant. I can understand now why 1,500 people will be watching it. Yes, good night, everybody. Have a good night yourselves, and have a good Easter tomorrow. Hopefully you'll get lots of chocolate. And again, thanks for watching. No problem, Cougar. Next time, subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll find out the next one that's coming. So cheers, everybody, and good night. No problem, Kevin. It didn't go very well, the airbrushing. Tits up, I think you could say. Right. Cheers, everyone, and good night.